Welcome to the Transform Your Wedding podcast, a how-to guide for taking your wedding to a whole new level. Here's your host, Marie Kubin from Rent My Wedding.
Hey everyone, this episode is all about guest book alternatives. We're going to talk about how you can take that traditional guest book and throw it out the window and do something way more creative and personal instead. I'll be chatting with Felicia Engdahl and Sarah-Jane Bennet, the co-founders of Planners on Retainer. This is an award-winning wedding and event planning firm that covers Florida, Georgia, Virginia, and beyond. So I hope you guys enjoy all of these tips and ideas when it comes to guest books. Hey, Felicia and Sarah-Jane. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited for today's topic because guest books are more than just about the memories. They're also such an important part of the reception decor.
Yes, they are. Yes.
So when it comes to guest books, where should couples get started when it comes to brainstorming ideas?
So for us, the best way to research the guest book ideas, Etsy.com, Instagram, or even Pinterest are great options as well.
And for me, I like to dig into the couple a little bit more. And so it's really great to be able to come up with fun, creative ideas by finding a little bit more about what the couple likes. So if they love traveling or wine is their thing or chocolate or music or something is their thing, then using one of those things as like their hobbies to incorporate their guest book is also a fun idea. So sometimes getting a little bit more background about their couple, then we can come up with some ideas that way too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's what I love is that the possibilities are endless now with guest books. It doesn't have to be that traditional book that everyone signs. You can really just get creative and do whatever you want to make it personal or unique or just do something different. So I love your advice too about starting with the couple and see what makes sense for them. Now, I know you guys have planned so many weddings, so you must have seen a lot of amazing guest books or alternatives to guest books. So let's start talking about some of those great ideas that you guys have. So what's one of your favorite types of kind of guest book alternatives?
One specific unique one was from our couple from Japan. They decided to make their own mini origamis, and then the guests would write some kind of love note or advice to the couple. So that was one of our most unique ones I loved, just because it was so meaningful and special to that specific couple. Some other ones we have seen are with wine bottles. Those who love wine, they would do a wine bottle for the first year, the 5th year, 10th, and 15th, and guests would just write on the bottles as well wishes, advice for each year, and then by those anniversary years, I guess the couple would just open it and celebrate and enjoy all those kind words and advices that their guests have given them. Another one that we really like is for home decor. So we've seen a lot of couples, not only just get something that they love, whether it's their style, but something like a wooden slab with their names engraved in it, or something they can hang in their house, or even acrylic sign that they really love that they can hang in their new home together, which is just a few of my favorites and unique ones that I've seen.
Yeah.
So for you?
A couple of my favorites is I've had a couple do their record. Their song was, I believe it was When a Man Loves a Woman, and they actually got like the record and guests signed the record and wrote little things on the record. And their plan was to frame it and also make it a part of their home decor.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a globe be signed because this couple really loved to travel. And so like they actually had the whole globe there and guests signed on the globe. And so people, as you can see, like the possibilities are really endless. As you said, there's different options that they can do. We've also done like the window panel glass with like the special like white pen, and that they could write messages. And this particular bride was going to put it like in her sewing room when there was lots of light, but they had love messages and stuff from their guests on this like panel of glass that guests signed.
Oh, that sounds beautiful. Yeah, I love these ideas. I did for my own wedding, actually, the wine bottle idea. So we're about to pop the 10-year bottle this year. So I can't wait to see if the wine's actually drinkable, for one thing. But but it's really cool. Like, we have the bottles sitting on a table in the living room, and it's just really cool. It's like part of the decor, but you can read the little messages that everyone wrote. So totally love that idea.
Right? It takes you back. That's a lot of fun. Yeah.
For sure. So those are a lot of great ideas. Are there any certain things that couples should keep in mind when they're trying to pick which idea to use?
So for me, I would suggest something that goes with their style and theme of either their wedding or what the couple likes together, as a whole, and also to have some fun about it. I mean, the guest book, it's something that can be used, that you can use later or in your new house, and so it should be something fun that both couples love, to do together or enjoy doing, or seeing in their new house that they can keep, for a very long time. So what about you, Sarah-Jane?
I think one of the first recommendations I make to couples when we start talking about the guest book is forget the actual guest book. And that's probably, that might be bad to say, but I'm just going to be 100% transparent, because I mean, you can answer. I mean, you had the wine bottle, so you didn't either, and I had the picture frame where people signed around it that's still hanging. But how many people sign a book, and you don't sit down 5 or 10 years later and just look at signatures? Because majority of those guest books were just really for somebody to sign to see that they were there.
So true.
I mean, half the time you can't even read that person's handwriting. And so I know, right? So the first thing I say is, forget like that guest book, because they're thinking, okay, where should I go buy that? And I go, no, we're not thinking, that type of guest book. Our guest book can be really anything. So, once it's time to cross that bridge to the guest book, I go, the possibilities are endless. So let's open the door and find out what you love. Where would you want to put it? What do we want to do with it? And then is it feasible in the space? Like that window panel that, we did for that one bride, where are we going to put it? How can we get it in there? And it wasn't small. So that one we used, we put in the cocktail hour space. So almost everybody would be able to see it, obviously. The record, we had put it really close to the escort card table. So to make sure that nobody missed it. So also as far as, functionality of where it's going to be during the wedding, so nobody, misses it. So first it's kind of like, okay, where do we want to start? Where's it going to be, this piece of memorabilia? What are the things most important to you guys, so we can kind of get down to what will it be? Because they can have multiple loves. So how about what's the love the most, and what we can make out of that for the guest book, and then go from there.
Definitely. I love that. I think that's great advice. And especially how you're talking about, don't think of the guest book like you would normally think of it. We're not a hotel checking in or making a list of every person who ever went there. Because I have friends who did a traditional guest book, and it is in a box somewhere. They have not looked at it since their wedding day. So it's such an opportunity that's missed, I think, if you don't take the time to get creative and do something fun that you can really use as a keepsake and cherish it. So I love all of your advice about taking that approach to the guest book. Now, since I have not one, but 2 wedding planners here with me, I thought I wanted to pick your brains a little bit just in general about wedding planning. So if you guys had to give just one tip to our couples out there about planning their wedding, what's kind of your number 1 tip that you would give?
Number 1 tip. Do you want to go first?
Go ahead, you can go first.
Okay, so you're going to notice a theme about me here, that's from being in the industry for quite a while. So my biggest tip about weddings is, when I meet with couples, is let's throw tradition out the window. I think the most important thing is that there's nothing wrong with creating your own tradition, and the wedding should really be a story about who you two as a couple. And your love story. And so I think sometimes couples think that it should be a cookie cutter wedding out of a box, should be, stereotypical white cake and white linens. And it's not about that. It really is. If you want a pink dress or a blue dress, and, or you wanted a short dress, or you want black linens or a black cake. So I always say that the best tradition is that you can create your own. So let it be about who you guys are and focus on that.
I love that. Yeah. And that's not something you hear as much. The industry is always putting on these pressures, like here's all the traditions and here's the checklist. So I just love that. That's great advice, that you should really make it about you and not try to follow rules for the sake of following rules. So get creative and make it personal. I love that.
What about you?
For me, I mean, honestly, it's, wedding planning can be stressful at some points, but really it's just to have fun and enjoy every moment of it. And, brainstorming, like Sarah-Jane said, and being creative, I think that's the best advice, and just having fun with it. Like, find something that you both love, or, that you want to represent for your wedding. And I think that's the best tip that I can give to anyone planning a wedding.
Right. So we don't want them to take it too seriously.
You're right.
Right? Because I mean, we've seen couples get into heated discussions over weddings, right? And so
I like how you put that, heated discussions.
So yeah, the most important part at the end of the day is that you're getting married, right? So have fun with it, and focus on the main thing is, getting married, and not get obviously into arguments over the actual wedding.
Definitely. Yeah. It's one of those things where it can be really easy to get overwhelmed and look at that huge list of things that you need to do and just start treating it like a job almost. So I think that's great advice. When you're the couple who's getting married, just have fun, try to relax. And if you have a wedding planner, that's the best part, is that they've got you. So you can leave all the tough stuff to them and just enjoy that time.
Experience. Right. Have fun with the process.
For sure. Well, can you tell me a little bit more just about the two of you and your company?
Sure. So I started my business in about 2000. Gosh, aging myself a little bit, but I started wedding planning 15 years ago. Took a sharp turn from being a lawyer to wedding planning after my own wedding aired on a television show called Real Weddings by the Knot. And so our wedding aired on reruns for about 2 years. And then I told my husband that I don't think that the lawyer thing was cut out for me. And I think this was secretly my passion. So he was all for it. And I took a wedding planning course, and Felicia took the same course a few years later. But I had stayed in touch with that teacher, and she introduced us, and Felicia was my intern for like 6 years. She started as my intern, became my assistant. And when I started traveling, she held down this market as I started getting into like destination weddings, became really popular. And I do a lot of that as well. And then I branched off my destination events and group travel business and created Planners on Retainer separately. And then we became partners. So we've worked together now at this point almost a decade, and how we are like, all on the Southeast and internationally. So that's how we came to be Planners on Retainer and partners.
Wow, that's amazing. So you guys have so much experience between the two of you. Great. And how can everyone get in touch with you?
You can, so we're on all social media platforms, on Instagram, Pinterest, or Facebook, at Planners on Retainer, and also our website, www.plannersonretainer.com is another great way to see everything, all the work we do and our services, and also the best way to get in contact with us.
Awesome. Well, Felicia and Sarah-Jane, thank you so much for joining me. This has been such a great interview. I appreciate all of your great advice.
Thank you for letting us share our tips. It's been great.
Have a great day.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed all of these ideas for guest book alternatives. Now, don't forget, you can catch all of the podcast episodes over at transformyourwedding.com. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.
This podcast is brought to you by Rent My Wedding, your one-stop shop for event rentals. Order online and rentals are delivered right to your door. Shipping is free both ways nationwide. Rent lighting, backdrops, photo booths, and more. With the most 5-star reviews in the industry, Rent My Wedding makes rentals easy and affordable. Book your rentals today at www.rentmywedding.com.